Welcome to the Speak Your Piece podcast. My name is Ian McNaughton, Big E. Thank you very much for joining. We're recording this Friday, November 8th, a day after my birthday. I turned 25 yesterday, November 7th. Thank you very much to everyone who sent a message, said happy birthday, reached out. It's greatly appreciated. I'm now 25 years old, which, quarter of a century mark. That's something. It's funny. Somebody asked me yesterday, do you have any words of wisdom to, for being 25, to get to this point of your life? And I didn't. I didn't really have anything off the top of my head. I'd say probably the most recent thing I learned, even though I already knew it, but the most recent thing that impacted me. Don't pay $9 for a fireball shot. I won't go into it anymore. Just don't. That's way too much. Way too much. Yeah. So we're doing this on Friday afternoon. It is a great day for sports. Great weekend for sports. We'll talk a little bit about Thursday night football. We're going to talk a little hockey, a little college football. Some good rugby action coming up this weekend. NASCAR, if you're interested. NASCAR's got a championship race this weekend. We'll touch on all those things here and there as the episode goes on. Let me know if you guys are enjoying these episodes. I am working to get some new guests, some new appearances. Working on trying to figure out what's working, what niches I'm enjoying, what I'm not enjoying. So far, I am enjoying at least the little 30 to 45 minute episodes, just to kind of get me back in routine, get me back into the swing of it, get me talking, getting back in a podcast voice, which is needed. It's appropriate. And I mean, I know I've been doing this for a few months now, but it's still good to just get it out. Get that chest puffed out, excuse me, just so I can at least sound somewhat clear and kind of sound like I know what I'm talking about and I know what I'm doing, which is arguably not true, but who's to say? Thursday night football yesterday, Bengals played the Ravens. Ravens beat Cincinnati 35-34. Fucking awesome game. Ravens scored 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to win. Cincinnati tried to go for a 2-point conversion at the end. They did not get it. An outstanding quarterback duo between Joe Burrow, who had 430 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and Lamar Jackson had 300 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. I don't know. It's not that there was one. I'm just looking at the stats here. It's not like there was one sack that fucked up Cincinnati, because, I mean, the Bengals were pretty good. The Bengals were pretty hot. I know most of the teams were slow kind of in the first half, really second quarter, to just get the ball rolling. But by the end of it, you were happy with what you watched and what you just saw. But with the Bengals, they gave up 3 sacks. And I do think that is the difference between the Bengals being this team compared to I keep talking about, but it's the Ravens and the Chiefs and the Bills are in their own tier, and the Bengals are just not there. And part of it is that they don't have the pieces on defense. They don't have Kyle Hamilton. They don't have Marlon Humphrey. Those are 2 very special players that are just hard to replicate, and they are one of one, which is the same with Lamar. Credit to Lamar. I know people like to shit on him and call him a running back. He is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Easily one of the most exciting, dynamic players you'll ever see. But the Bengals just can't get over this hump. And I know they've made a Super Bowl within the last 5 years. I get that. But the Bengals just don't have the same talent, the same playmakers, the same skill guys that the Ravens do. And the reason for that is just because the Ravens are a smart, well-oiled machine. They know how to scout. They know how to draft. They know how to assess guys and put them in positions to succeed. I don't think Kyle Hamilton, who had to leave last night's game early with, I can't remember if it was an ankle. He left in a walking boot, so that's obviously not good. He's probably going to be out for a while. But I don't know that Kyle Hamilton, a safety, would be as dynamic and as good of a player as he is if he was on a different situation. Like, I don't think we'd be talking about Kyle Hamilton the same way we would talk about him if he was on the Bengals. I don't think we would talk about him the same way if he was on the Jets. Like, I just don't think that's realistic. I don't think that is that is not indicative of the player. That's indicative of just organizations and cultures and fits. Like, a guy can be talented. Kyle Hamilton's absolutely talented. Like, I'm not saying he wouldn't be talented on the Jets or he wouldn't be talented on the Bengals. But again, it's the same thing of like getting to be in the Ravens defense, getting to play as a Baltimore Raven. When you're a skill guy like that, that takes your overall from here to here. And that's because of the great coaching that they have, the great people in the building, an organization that has been there before, that has been doing it for a significant time. They, as far as I know, as far as I can remember, the Baltimore Ravens have always had a tremendous defense with tremendous players. And you just are never going to be able to complete, like, you're never going to be able to replicate that. You're never going to be able to do it the way the Ravens do it, because the Ravens do it their own way. Like, I talked a little bit about this with the Seahawks in my Substack not that long ago, of trying to recreate the Legion of Boom, trying to bring that defense back. And you just aren't going to be able to. That's just so unrealistic to expect the team and the players to recreate one of the best defenses of all time. And it's the same thing with the Ravens. You cannot expect what the Ravens do to translate if, with Mike McDonald moving to Seattle. It's just not, you can hope for, 75% of it, but you're just not going to have that same transitional success, that same long-term success, the sustainability that the Ravens have had, because it's gone on longer than Mike McDonald. It's gone on longer than Zach Orr, who used to play for the Ravens and now is the defensive coordinator. It's gone on because of John Harbaugh, who's the head coach. Like, he's one of the many reasons why that team has been successful. And the Bengals just don't have that. They historically have not had that. I don't want to say the Bengals lucked into getting Joe Burrow, because they got Joe Burrow. He was the deserving pick at the time. But Joe Burrow has transformed the Bengals from this middling, mediocre, didn't really think much about them Cincinnati Bengals to, in most years, AFC contenders. And this is a healthy year for Burrow. He hasn't been injured, hasn't got injured yet, knock on wood, hasn't got injured yet, and still they're 4-6. And still they are they're 2 games below 500. Or 1 game below 500. I don't know. They're 2 games below 500. So it's tough for the Bengals when you have Joe Burrow, who's obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You have Jamar Chase, who got 3 touchdowns and 264 yards receiving. He got 17 targets last night, and they just don't have anything. Their offensive line is like, I don't love the Bengals offensive line, and I think that's a key difference as well, a key contrast between the Bengals and the Ravens. The Bengals' success has been through their quarterback, through passing, and getting more weapons. T. Higgins, having there's not a whole lot of Jermaine Burton was a first-round pick, but it's I think it was a first or second. Anyways, Burton was a top wide receiver drafted by the Bengals, and that's how they go about their business, is getting receiving playmaking help for Burrow instead of investing in the offensive line, which can buy Burrow some more time to make plays or hold up in the run game. So Chase Brown, who had 13 carries for 42 yards, he did get a touchdown, but 13 carries, 42 yards, it's just not good enough. That's kind of what makes Cincinnati a one-trick pony. And I know they lost Joe Mixon. I feel like they're missing another running back, but Zach Moss is the other guy that they had, and he's out. But the Bengals are kind of this one-trick pony, and they do really, really great stuff. They do exceptional stuff with that one-trick pony. You saw Chase caught 3 touchdowns last night. He got over 250 passing yards. Burrow threw for over 400 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. That's all well and good. That's fine. The defense, you can't expect the Bengals defense to slow down the Ravens, because hardly anybody could slow down the Ravens offense. I mean, that dynamic duo between Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, it's just, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's your most teams aren't going to stop that. Cincinnati is not a good enough defense to slow that down. Those guys are going to run wild. Henry only got 68 yards on 16 carries, but only 68 yards. So, yeah, the Bengals are just not the Ravens, and nobody, I think, was saying that they are. The Bengals might be, in my opinion, one of the best 4-6 teams ever, because they're pulling historical numbers like that with Burrow and Chase. Like, Burrow is having a hell of a season. He didn't even throw any picks last night. But they're just not the Ravens, and that's the problem, is that they feel like, how do I put this? The Bengals, instead of having a strategy when they go to the casino, the Bengals just go with vibes. They just roll, let them roll, and they put it all on red and hope it goes well. Instead of actually having a strategy on like how much money they're going to put out and how much, how much, I'm only going to spend this much here, I'm going to spend this much here. That's not really the Bengals. That's more the Ravens. The Ravens are much more tactical when it comes to building a team, playmaking, play calling, all that sort of stuff. The Ravens are very, very methodical when it comes to that sort of stuff. The Bengals feel like they just will put everything on red. And sometimes you hit. Sometimes you go all in and you win. And sometimes it's great. It's rocks. It's cool. You make a lot of money. But then you put it on red the next time, and it comes up black, and you're like, oh shit. And then you lose all your money. That scene in South Park where they have to get the town back because they're just about to lose the town to the people running the casino. Like they're going to take over the town, and they need to they need so much money to save the town, and then they go to the casino. Randy Marsh is playing roulette, and he wins it. He fucking calls red 21 or whatever the fuck, and it hits, and they got all their money, and the town is saved. To which Randy's like, yeah, but if I do this again, and if I get red 21 again, I'm going to double my money, and we're going to have way more money. We're going to have twice as much money so that everyone can have some. And the kids are like, no, what the fuck are you doing? We already got enough to save the town. We don't need any more. This is the same amount of money. To which Randy Marsh just rolls it again or whatever. He spins it, and it doesn't come up red 21. And they lose all their money, and then they don't save the town. That feels like with the Bengals. Like, sometimes you get like the one hit of like, hell yeah, this works. This is cool. This is great. And then the next time you're just like, let's do it again, and it doesn't hit. That feels like the Bengals. So, otherwise, great game. As a fan of neither one of these teams, as just a third-party casual watcher, great game. It was slow. It took a while to get going, but eventually it got going. So, neato. We're going to take a quick break here. We're going to be right back. We're going to talk a little NHL, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. NHL games, we got 4 tonight on Friday. Detroit's at Toronto. Pittsburgh's at Washington. Minnesota is in Anaheim, and Vegas is in Seattle. I'm repping the Kraken shirt today, which, I don't know. I've been doing laundry, so this was like a clean shirt I could wear. Red Wings beat the Blackhawks the other night, 4-1. Very underwhelming. That team is slow as shit. And I got to see a Joe Veleno goal in person, so like life's now worth living again, which is cool. But like, the Red Wings are not great, and I didn't think they were. And then going up against the Blackhawks, it was like, ugh, boy howdy. The Blackhawks are also not great. I will say that was a deceiving, if you watch that was a deceiving 4-1 game. That felt like it could have gone either way because the Hawks were out shooting the Red Wings for most of that game. I can't remember if the Red Wings finished ahead in shots on goal or not. But very, very, very uneventful game for being 4-1, it felt like. But, Cam Talbot's back. He's the starter. He's the guy. We'll see how the Red Wings do in Detroit tonight. Justin Hall is apparently making his way back into the lineup, which I don't know who he's replacing. I don't know. I'm going to pull this up. I don't know who's being taken out so that Justin Hall can be put back in, but it is objectively funny that Justin Hall is playing so-so, but he gets to play against the Leafs in Toronto. That's really funny. Detroit Red Wings. Justin Hall is going to be on the second pair right side, which I don't know who was that the other night. Is that Petrie? I think that was Jeff Petrie. Yeah, Petrie was not great the other night. Anyways, Wings playing the Leafs. Matthews also isn't playing. I think Austin Matthews has been dealing with an injury all week. I don't know that he skated all week. I feel like I saw that. So maybe the Red Wings can sneak out a win. I don't know. Penguins playing the Capitals. This game is an ESPN Plus Hulu game. They've been promoting the hell out of Crosby and Ovechkin, so that's cool. Glad to see that rivalry is still relevant and still existent. The Caps are 9-3. The Caps are still really good. Washington is I think they're third in the Metro, even though they're 9-3. That's just how good the Metro is. I'm still a little I think they're good. I'm still a little hesitant to say that this is sustainable and that they will be third in the Metro by the time playoffs roll around. But considering the rest of that division, Pittsburgh's not great. They're at the bottom. They're 5-8-2. The Flyers are awful. The Blue Jackets, I feel like, are coming back to earth after a little bit of a heater. The Islanders are not great. So, there's 4 teams, and then you have to consider the Rangers, the Devils, and the Hurricanes, who are also really good. So, Washington will probably be able to sneak into at least a top 4, if not wild card. I don't know that I like them any more than Carolina or New Jersey or the Rangers, but they will at least be a top 4 team. So, they got that going for them. Minnesota's playing Anaheim. Minnesota's been really good. Anaheim has fallen off. I don't know if Dostal is still the best. He has I think for a while there he had the highest expected saves above average. I think it was, or something along those lines. He's been really good, but Anaheim is not. Minnesota's been really good. Minnesota's 9-2-2. They are pretty much the cream of the. It's them and Winnipeg that are the cream of the crop in the Central, which is kind of crazy to think about. The 2 most average, mid, not relevant teams are now the top 2 teams in their division. So I'm kind of curious if they will if they can get into a playoff round against one another, Minnesota and Winnipeg. I feel like that would be good. I remember a few years ago that was kind of a bit of a rivalry. They're geographical rivals, but they're not really I guess natural is geography, but historically, no, because obviously Atlanta moved to Winnipeg, and the Wild were an expansion team before Winnipeg ever got there. So I don't know. I feel like Minnesota-Winnipeg would be a fun playoff round in round 1. I think that'd be a cool series. That would be fun. Vegas is playing Seattle. Seattle is not. I really wish Seattle was doing better. They're 5-8-1. I don't really know what the issues are with the Kraken. I haven't watched enough to see. If I had to take a guess, I would just assume that it's just not enough scoring because they just don't have enough high-level, top-end scoring. They just don't. Vegas is 9-3-1 this year. Vegas is coming off a big win against Edmonton on Wednesday. They got their first road win of the year in Edmonton. That was their first road win, and I think they're undefeated at home. So we'll see if they can carry that over into Seattle. But obviously Vegas is really good. I'm still curious about Adin Hill. If Adin Hill is going to, he's been pretty slow this year. Adin Hill has not been great. I don't know if he's going to have a bounce back here at some point, but he's been He's been struggling. Samsonov has been the guy for Vegas. Like I feel like they have like a 50-point difference in save percentage. Like I feel like I saw Samsonov with like a 920, 930 the last time, and Hill had like an 880. So we'll see. I'm not holding my hopes, too high for the Seattle Kraken, regardless of who's in net. But maybe they can take down Vegas at home at Climate Pledge on a Friday night. I have my NHL Substack coming out on Saturdays, my Saturday/Hockey Night in Canada preview. So go take a look at that when it comes out. You can subscribe for free, get all my content on my Substack, including all the hockey previews, which are really cool, and I think they're really fun. And I haven't been told otherwise that they stink, which maybe people aren't reading them. I don't know, but I think they're cool. I think they're fun. Yeah, so basically that's the NHL preview for tonight. I'll do a bit of a Saturday preview tomorrow in a written version. Go take a look at that. Some good games, some exciting storylines. So we'll take another break here. We'll be right back, and then we're gonna get into a little bit more stuff as soon as we're back. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. All right, time for some Sicko Sport updates, previews, recaps, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to do a little rugby talk, so bear with me. International Rugby, the Autumn Nations Tournament is back on this weekend, including today. Ireland is playing New Zealand in Dublin. That game gets underway at 12:10 Pacific, 3:10 Eastern. I don't know what time that is, Dublin time. Is Dublin 8 hours on the West Coast? 8 or 9. This game is starting at either 8 or 9 p.m. In Dublin time. Rugby 15s, by the way. So these are big international test matches. Other games, Canada will be in, I think they're in Romania playing Chile. They're doing like a European tour. They play Chile. Spain's playing Uruguay. So kind of some like, I think they are still technically tier 2. Like there's the tier 1s that are like the top 10, 12 teams in the world, and then there's tier 2, which is like Canada and the US and Uruguay, and like almost like the tier 1 is like FBS, like college football teams, and then like tier 2 are like the mid majors. That's basically what Canada and the US and Uruguay are. England is playing Australia at Alliance Stadium, which is Twickenham. England, really funny fucking last week. They lost to New Zealand at home, even though they had 2 chances to win. They had a penalty that they hit off the upright. I think that was Tommy Ford who bumped it off the upright, and then New Zealand tried to catch it, and like they missed, and it was basically botched until they had a scrum. It was England's ball. They had one last opportunity. They went for another drop goal. I think that was Marcus Smith who went for the drop goal and botched it. Or Marcus Smith might have taken a penalty at Tommy Ford with the drop kick. Either way, wide right was Marcus Smith or whoever had the game-winning drop goal to win. And basically, New Zealand held on. New Zealand overcame an 8-point deficit in like the last 10 minutes, I think it was. They had like 8 points. They were 8 points down. They needed 8 points to win. They got it, and New Zealand beat England in England. Really funny stuff. We'll see if New Zealand can beat Ireland. I think it's a little tougher of a matchup. I think Ireland's a better team. They have a chance, if they aren't already number 1 in the world. Ireland could be number 1 in the world after this weekend. We'll see about New Zealand. Romania is playing Tonga in the doubleheader after the Canada-Chile game. So basically, if you're in, God, I do not know what the capital is. It Bucharest? Bucharest? I'm gonna pull this up now because I'm gonna be pissed off if I do not get this right. Stadial. Yeah, the national arena in Bucharest. Is it Bucharest? I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know how you pronounce the capital of Romania. I'm so sorry. Basically, they have the doubleheader, Canada, Chile, and then after that, Romania, Tonga. So there you go. There's your It's basically the equivalent of like your non-conference college early season college basketball tournament. That's what those two teams are playing in. Portugal is playing the U.S. In Portugal. The U.S. are doing a different tour from Canada because I mean I guess Canada has already played this year, so why are you going to play them again? Go play Portugal. Who cares? Italy is playing Argentina in Udine. I don't know why. There might be some Serie A games going on, which means they can't use Olympic Stadium because that's where Olympic Stadium in Rome is where Italy's national rugby team plays. Like that's where they have typically all of their Six Nations games. So they're changing up. They're doing a tour around Italy, which seems cool. And then finally, France playing Japan. That should be a fun one in Saint Denis, Stade de France. That should be a fun game. France should win. Japan is not that good, unfortunately. They've taken a bit of a drop since they hosted the Rugby World Cup and in 2019, and it certainly feels like they've taken a further drop just in the last year. Like they just don't have, it seems like, the same talent pool, the same talent that they did 5 years ago, which is disappointing. But they're also going to go up against a French team that's really fucking good with Antoine Dupont running the show. So that should be exciting to watch. As well. And then Wales playing Fiji in Principality Stadium in Cardiff. Fiji lost to Scotland last week. Fiji really got blown out. It was over in the first 10, 12 minutes when Scotland scored like 3 or 4 tries. Bang, 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 bang. Fiji just had no answers. Fiji was not ready for it. It'll be a little bit more competitive, I think, with Wales, even though Wales hasn't won in like seven games. I feel like Wales has not done well recently, so that's kind of where I'm thinking it'll be a little bit closer. But even so, like I still think Wales should win. Warren Gatland should be able to get his team ready for Fiji and should be able to beat them at home. There's going to be some real issues, some real questions if Fiji goes into Cardiff and knock off Wales. That's going to be really concerning for Welsh rugby fans. And then finally, ending the weekend on a high note with Scotland and the Springboks, Scotland and South Africa in Edinburgh. Scotland had a good game last week against Wales, or against Fiji, as I just mentioned. I don't know that they're up for the task of playing the Springboks at home. That might be a 50-17 win for South Africa. I would not be surprised. That checks out to me. But Scotland will do their best. They will try their darndest to be competitive with the Springboks. At least they're in Edinburgh. If they were in South Africa, it would not be close. I think it would be even more of a blowout. But who knows? It's in Scotland. Anything's possible. It's at Murrayfield. Anything's possible. I would not be. I would be shocked if Scotland won. I would be stunned if they did it in a wide margin. But anything's possible. That's why we play the games. That's why we go and do this. Switch it over. No F1 this week. F1 is back on 2 weeks from now for American Thanksgiving for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. So that's going to be cool. I'm excited for that. The funny thing with the Las Vegas Grand Prix is all the hotels and the tourist boards are like, yeah, no, we don't have the same draw so far as we did at this time last year. And it's like, yeah, no shit, because this is the second year of the event, not the inaugural event, where everybody was willing to pay thousands of dollars just to see the spectacle. And now it's like, oh, we already did this before. Like, I should really go on a tangent and a rant about this is just marketing and consumerism 101 of just like, yeah, no shit, you guys aren't getting as many customers the second time around because of who you're targeting and who is paying to go to these races. And you're not going to get the same draw the second time. Maybe if you have more of an event and a exciting race, you'll get people. But who knows? NASCAR, they have their championship race on Sunday in Phoenix. I don't have time to explain how the NASCAR playoffs work because I think they're dumb and stupid. The NASCAR playoffs are. You think hockey is like overcomplicated? You think it's like hockey is dumb and stupid and doesn't make sense half of the time? Go follow NASCAR. NASCAR is up there for dumb and stupid and overcomplicated and making it harder than it needs to be. That's essentially NASCAR. Anyways, basically there are 4 drivers who can win the Cup Championship this weekend. Those 4 drivers are Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick. Yeah, those are 4 dudes who... Logano is probably the I would say the favorite because he has the experience, but I mean Byron's won a championship too. I think Blaney has. I'm going to double check because I know for sure Logano has won a title. I think Reddick is the he's the young gun in this one. But let's just double check here just to be sure. I would hate to get it wrong. Yeah, Ryan Blaney won it last year, so he's looking to go back to back. Joey Logano, let's take a look here. 2-time winner, 2018-2022. So it's kind of interesting. You got the 2022 winner, you got the 2023 winner in Blaney. William Byron has never won, and neither has Tyler Reddick. So, and to give you an idea, Joey Logano, 34 years old, so he's a bit of a vet. Blaney, 30 years old. Tyler Reddick is 96, so he's 28 years old. And William Byron is 97, so he is 26 years old. So basically you have a 34-year-old, you have a 30-year-old, you have a 26 and a 27-year-old. The 26 and 27-year-old, they're hoping to get their first title. Logano, the 34-year-old, he's already won twice. Blaney is hoping to go back-to-back. He's hoping to retain his title, and we shall see. I don't like Logano. I think he's a prick. So I'm not rooting for him. I'm kind of rooting for William Byron. That would be Reddick would be the long shot. So like it would be cool if Reddick won. I think he is the most unlikeliest guy to win. If I had to rank, I think the guys with the most likely to win: Logano, Blaney, Byron, Reddick. I'm hoping that the guys lower down, the Reddick and the Byrons win, because I think that'd be really cool. You saw Reddick won a few weeks ago in Kansas, and he had a he went to Miami, Homestead, Miami, because he slingshot around. He didn't wall ride because you can't do that. That's illegal, and I don't have time to get into that, the whole controversy that's been brewing in NASCAR for the last little bit. But basically, took the high line, went all the way around. He got past, I think it was Blaney, and Reddick won. And basically, if you win, that basically clinches your spot into the next round. So Reddick, he's been sitting on this for the last little bit here. He knew he was going to be in. He earned his way in. He got the win. He's gonna be my pick. I'm gonna take Tyler Reddick. Fuck it, Tyler Reddick. He's gonna win. Underdog. Cool story. Would love to see him get the opportunity. I believe Reddick is a driver for the Michael Jordan team. Michael Jordan has a NASCAR team. It's 23XI, I believe. And he is the number 45 for the 23XI Racing. So basically, Michael Jordan could actually win another title, theoretically, because he's a team owner. Which is maybe that's the storyline that gets people interested to see if Michael Jordan could win another title. This would be his first as an owner or an executive, because he was a terrible executive with the Wizards and the Hornets. And I think he's sold off the Hornets now, so he can just focus on NASCAR, where the stakes aren't as high, theoretically. Not as much as it would be. It would mean a lot more in the NBA, I'm sure, for him. But I'm going to take Tyler Reddick to win this weekend in Phoenix. At the do they actually have a name for this race, or are they just calling it the championship? Cup Series Championship. There you go. Cup Series Championship in Phoenix. You can watch that on NBC. It kicks off at 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific. go watch some NASCAR. Go watch a championship race. It might be interesting. It's been a really fun season. Like, it's been an exciting. There's been some really close finishes. There's been a lot of exciting storylines. I would like to, maybe I'll get a NASCAR expert on. I would like to reach out and know, like, where does this season rank in terms of all-time seasons, because I feel like this has been a really exciting, competitive, a lot of good racing, a lot of exciting finishes, a lot of interesting driver storylines. Like, I feel like this was a season, one of the better seasons in a while, but I need to ask an actual expert and not a casual fan like me if that's true or not, but who knows. That's all I got this weekend. I'm not going to be watching much football because the Seahawks are off, so I don't have to think about football this weekend, which is nice. That was a tough watch last week with the Seahawks. Some good college football too, if you're into that. That should be fun. Lot of good games. I am curious to see. They just had a playoff ranking on Tuesday for what the potential playoffs would look like. I'm going to try and do a little bit more of that. You see them also in my football Substack, which you can read every Thursday. Go check that out. I did my own playoff preview. I am curious as to who the committee will put in. Like, I think Boise State's probably going to be the 12th seed because I think they'll win out. They will be the 5th conference champion to get in. I'm curious how they go through, like, the Indiana should be in, Tennessee should be in. I think Penn State should be in. I'm curious if they will put in SMU. I would think they would throw in at the end of the year if, like, even hell, I'm sure they would rather put in a 3-loss Alabama or a 3-loss LSU or a 3-loss Texas A&M over a 1-loss Army or a 1-loss Wazoo. I think the committee would rather shoot themselves than put those teams in. So we'll see how that goes coming up in these last few weeks here in the last month or so of the college football season. But we'll have to do something for that for Tuesday, or maybe something when we pod again next week. So that's the podcast for Friday. Thank you very much for listening. Greatly appreciate it. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Watch us on YouTube. Basically, wherever you get your podcast, that's where we are. If you're watching on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Any support's greatly appreciated. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Have fun. Get out, hopefully, to some sunshine where you are. Enjoy some sunshine. Like, go and enjoy life. Go and enjoy the weekend. So, thank you very much again for listening. Greatly appreciated. We'll be back again soon. Peace out.